Hello and welcome to a crafty vlog. So today I've got a couple of things that I want to show you. Well, hopefully I'll get them done, and I might even get something else done, we shall see. I have got this travel jewellery box I'm going to transform into a little sewing box. This is a bit of a trend. I think it was started by Nikki from the Stitchery, and loads of people have got some gorgeous little boxes that they use to take their sort of English paper piecing equipment around in a nice little compact box. So I'm going to try and do that. I got mine from Amazon. You can just search travel jewellery case and they come up about 15 to 20 pounds, I think, so you can get them from there. It's got like a faux leather outside, a place to put rings. There's a little panel here which I've already actually cut at the top, so because I'm going to take that bit out, and then there's these movable compartment dividers, so I'm going to move those so I can put my threads into this side. But I'm going to line it, put some cute little ribbon on and add a little bit of pinkness a little pizzazz to make it really nice and cute. I'm going to change that one, and then I've also got a small one with a zip on, and I thought what I'd do is transform this into a sort of kit to do knitting with. So I'll have like the miniature crochet hooks for repair hooks, little stitch markers and bits and bobs I use for knitting in there, and I'm going to transform that by lining it with some different fabric and removing the ring divider there as well. So I'm going to show you how I do that, because I know that a lot of people have posted pictures on Instagram but they haven't really shown how they do it, so I thought it'd be nice for you to see how I do it so that you can adapt it and make it the way you want it. I've also got a gorgeous shawl that I want to block. Liz has knitted it for me. It's a sample for the shop, and I will show you what that is later, but it's a gorgeous lacy shawl. So I've decided to use these two colours for the big one, and I'm going to use this one for the little one, and I might add a different one as well, but that'll be the fabric that lines the bottom of the case. But these are all Liberty prints. I have only got small pieces of these because I only bought small pieces so that I could do EPP with them. But if obviously I'm lining something, I'm going to use a little bit more all at once. Might have to go and order some more from Alice Caroline. So I am in love with these, and I think that they'll make a nice lining. So I was initially going to make it so that it matched my box that I made, which is this one. This is a pattern by Emma Jones from Vintage Sewing Box, and I was going to make it in these fabrics, but actually I thought that the outside of this cream is actually quite a sort of yellowy side of cream, and whereas these are all sort of grey based, so I don't think the fabric would sort of go with that, so I'm going to make it a nice bright one to take out and about with, and it'll match my little trifold sewing case which I have a tutorial for, and this pin cushion that I made a couple of weeks ago on the last sewing vlog with a cathedral window into a pin cushion, so that those will all sort of go together if I need to take them out all at once. So let's get started. The dividers come out easily, and so did the ring divider, but this is stuck quite well. But I think I'm going to try and undo it, and then I can wrap the pieces individually in fabric. They're just glued in place. Hopefully I can glue them back. You can see there's a little groove for this divider to go into. Right, so those are those pieces taken out. It looks like I can actually take this outside bit out as well. I'm basically taking the whole thing apart. You probably don't need to do this. Actually, I'm not going to take that bit out because I think I might lose a bit of the integrity of the piece. And also if I wrap it, it might not close very well. So I'm going to leave that outside bit in. And what I'm going to do is measure the dimensions, I think, and then cut a piece that fits those dimensions. Hopefully I've got enough of this fabric. Oh, this is the one I was going to do on the bottom. And hopefully I'll be able to fit. Oh, that's the wrong side of the fabric. If I cut it the right dimensions, and then I can trim the corners off. So I'll go and measure it and make sure I know how big to cut the piece. So this looks like it's about 7 7/8 of an inch, but I think I can probably tuck the fabric underneath this piece of card or whatever it is. So I'm going to cut that 8 inches by 5 1/4 maybe. I can always cut it down afterwards, so I'm going to cut that. So I've just started to pick some of the foam that's still stuck to this gluey bit, so that it doesn't show through the actual print of the fabric. I'm thinking maybe I should do 2 layers, because this fabric is quite, you can see through the paler parts. Let's have a look. So I've cut out the right size piece of the pretty fabric, and I've just tried to sort of fit it in, and it definitely needs something to line it underneath. So I'm going to pick out a white piece of fabric and cut out an appropriate piece. So we're at 5 1/4 by 8 inches. I'm going to cut that separately. Right, so that's pressed over. What I want to do is just cut one of the corners off and just measure it against the box to make sure that I've cut it at the right angle, really. But I'm just going to eyeball it to start with. I'm hoping this will be alright. You should really accurately measure things, but I'm just going to go for it. So I've cut around the corner. I'm going to see if it fits in the box. Oh yeah, that works nicely. It'll probably need a bit more cut off, but if I cut the other corners the same. I think I could do with taking a little bit more off actually, so that it doesn't have to tuck under so well. So I'm going to take that out, give it another press and just trim it slightly. Oh, that's lovely. So you can see how much I've trimmed off. Next bit is these other pieces of dividers, and I want to sort of wrap them if I can. Right, so I've got 2 smaller ones, 2 larger ones, and the one that goes all the way around. Might have to do the one that goes all the way around in 2 pieces. Now with this, I think I might have to glue things so that it stays on. What I need to do is work out how much I need to cut. I need to make sure that I've got enough fabric to do this top bit, I think. So 8 inches. I'm going to cut some inch strips, I think, and then I can use an inch strip to bind at the top here as well. Yeah, that's going to be for the top. And then I'm going to need 2 lengths to do this. Hopefully that will work out okay. And then I need to do pieces that are a bit wider for these, so hopefully I've got enough fabric to do these little bits as well. Oh, luckily, look, this little bit on the edge of my fabric is going to be okay, I think. Ooh, it's getting close. So I'm going to cut a couple of 2-inch strips to do these side panels. Right, so do like that, although that's the wrong side of the fabric. And I'm going to glue these down, I think. I'm not quite sure whether to use PVA glue or hot melt glue. I might try both, we shall see. So those pieces are going to be there. This piece is going to be across there. I'm going to cut this to length, I think. Just leave 1/4 of an inch, I think, each side, and maybe I can tuck that in so that it's a nice neat edge. Not sure whether that's the best idea, but we shall see. So I'm going to cut 5 inches and a half, 5.5 inch strip. I am going to try just using some standard fabric glue on these and see how it sticks. If it comes unstuck when I'm using it, I can always use another method of sticking. Okay, that's one done. There was a bit of a dinge in the fabric where it's sort of nestled in. Yeah, I think I might have to glue this down as well, so I am going to glue the base layer of fabric first. Like I said though, I don't know if this glue is going to stay. I'll probably need to use something stronger, but just for easy use. There we go, just done that the same way. Hopefully that can just sit in the groove. The bit that's not stuck. Obviously the bit that goes all the way around this will hold it in place, and I'll probably use hot melt glue on that. It's just that this is just easy to just use on the fabric, and when that's adhered straight onto the surface. But I think that's looking quite nicely already. You don't need to cover the back side as well, because that's going to be in contact with these outside pieces. I'm just lining it up with the bottom and taking into account there's a little notch that pokes out as well. I think this probably will hold okay. That doesn't work too bad actually. I'm really pleased with how that's come out. So just a bit of glue, let's put that into place. So there we go, I've covered the other pieces in the same technique, and actually I don't think I really need to hot melt glue them into place, to be quite honest, because they're not for strength as such, it's just to keep things separate really. So I think I'm going to leave it like that. I can always take it apart and hot melt glue it together again afterwards. These dividers were quite loose anyway before, so I think that's absolutely fine. So I want to make a strip of this fabric to go across the top here, just to add a little bit of detail. So I'm going to get the iron out so that I can press it ready to attach here, but I think I might have to hot melt glue this bit because it's going to be subject to a little bit more sort of wear, I think. So I'll have to get the hot melt glue out for this one. So I'm just pressing it into bias tape by hand. I have got a bias tape maker, but I don't think it's this size. So it's best to just do it with my fingers, being careful not to burn them, of course. So I need to just cut a little bit off this length to make sure that I haven't got too much to tuck under. So I've just measured how big it is. This is really not a very sort of accurate, I suppose, but I'm just marking how wide it is. So I've cut it to length with an extra ½ an inch for tucking under at the edges. So I'm hopefully gonna be able to glue it all the way along. Just marking where the edge is going to be there, and I can tuck it under and hot melt glue that in place so that there's a little contrast strip at the top here. I've got bits of fabric already. Right, I haven't used this hot melt glue gun in ages. Oh, here we go. So hopefully you can see. I might, if I add the hot melt glue to the piece first, hopefully this will work. I'm not a very experienced hot melt glue gun person, so you may need to just have a play with it yourself. This glue gun is like a mini one that you have to push the glue stick into the back, which isn't the easiest to use. Hopefully I'll get it in before the glue starts to set. Oh, that was easier than I thought. Ah, that wasn't too bad. I probably should use that for the rest of it as well. But I think that's come out quite good. Obviously it would be better if it was sort of sewn in, but getting inside the pocket would be quite difficult. But I love it so far. So I've decided actually to put a bit of hot melt glue gun at a couple of different places inside here just to hold it really nicely. I'm not going to put hot melt glue on the smaller dividers at the side because I want to be able to move those. I think that'll hold in place enough. So that's nice and secure now. Time to pop some sewing goodies inside. Right, so pop in some of the things that I like to use in here. When I was messing around with the dividers before, I worked out that I liked a particular arrangement of the threads, so I'm going to pop them back where they were. And then I've got my favourite type of thimble, which is a Clover one. I am going to be stocking those in my shop next week actually, which is exciting. So then I've got a stock in case I need them for myself. I've got a little bobbin full of really fine Deco Bob thread. And I've got a pair of scissors, my glue pen, a little hexagon template, a couple of little threads and some pins. And what's really nice about this actual box is that the needle thread fits in nicely, which is nice, and I've got a pink one so it matches my fabric. What I want to do here is make a little tiny pin cushion made out of one of these fabrics. I might have to order some more so that I can get everything tied in, and I'd like to make a little heart sort of pendant hanging from one of these so that it just dresses it up a little bit more. But these are mostly my favourite things I like to use for sort of hand sewing, so ideal to be able to pop them all in the same place. some people have done some detail on the lid as well, but I might get round to that later. So I also want to do this smaller one, so I won't film so much detail of this, but I shall show you what it looks like when it's finished. But I'm going to take this bit where you've got the rings, where you put your rings, out, and this bit as well, and line the bottom bit as I did in the previous one. So Jensen is inspecting my case. Mustn't touch the pins, they're too sharp. What do you think? Yes, my glue stick. Mind the pins. Yeah, we mustn't glue things with the glue stick right now. No. This is a hexagon, look. Can you say hexagon? He knows what to do. Yeah, needle threader. Do you think it's a camera? Are you doing cheese? Where does it go? Jensen is in my craft room. What are you doing, Jensen? And he's made chaos over there with a little box of bits and bobs. Adam's doing the tea, so I'm looking after him for a bit. He thinks he's fixing my tripod. Jensen, what are you doing? Fixing it? Okay. Fixing my tripod. So I finished both of the boxes. I've added a load of bits and bobs into this one. For both of these cases I've added a little ribbon on there, just temporarily really, because I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to have it there or put some little hexagons instead. But I've just pinned it in place. Same goes for the other one, which I'll show you in a minute. But I've added a lot of other bits and bobs. I had an old case for some sewing needles from machine needles, and I took the back part of it and then cut the top off, and then that little piece fits nicely in there and holds my needles nice and sturdy. And I've got a load of other bits and bobs. So I've got some needle stoppers, stitch markers, a tape measure, a counting ring for row counting, some grips, some needle adapters for my HiyaHiya needles, some leather or faux leather tags for my work, and a little repair hook, as well as some little snips. A lot of these things I've got in my shop, apart from the counting ring and the tape measure, but some of the other things I've got in the shop, but I think that'll be really, really handy to have in my bag. I'm going to put that in with my love note that I'm knitting at the moment, because it's pink, very appropriate. And I'll quickly show you the case for my English paper piece, and you can see I've put another ribbon on it, and I'm going to put a little flat sort of heart cushion for pins at the top here and hang it on the little tabs. I think I saw that on somebody who'd done it already on Instagram, but I'm going to obviously do it in the colours that I fancy to go with my kit. And I'm going to do a little needle book to have all my sort of sewing needles in there, and then everything will be together. I think I might also put some packets of needles in the top there, to make sure that I've got everything I need. But I've got the set of sort of basic threads that you need for most English paper piecing techniques, but I've got a pink as well, because obviously if I'm making anything to match these sort of colours, then a pink is ideal. But I'm really pleased about that. I'm sorry about the light, it's now night time and I haven't got my studio lights on at the moment. But next thing I need to do is block this shawl. This is the Foliosa shawl, and it's by Justyna Lorkowska. Ta-da! And you can probably tell that, so I gave Liz 2 skeins of my merino and yak base to knit this with, but I didn't realise actually that it was really, I needed possibly like 830 meters or something like that, but obviously this base has got less on it. I think it has 360 something meters per skein, so we were a bit short and I had to dye another skein up, and it was on this applied border on the outside. It is I don't know if you can really tell. We'll see when I've blocked it out, and hopefully you can't see it too much, but if you can, I will over dye it, so that's okay. So I'm now going to block it out. I forgot to say before, this is the Kiss Me colourway on my merino, yak and silk base. So it's got a lovely deep colour sort of undertone under the pink. You can't really see the pink in this light, so hopefully I'll be able to show you it on the next podcast. At least you'll be able to see how I'm blocking it. So I've got 6 blocking mats here. I normally start sort of in the middle and then work my way out. I know that this bit's going to have to come down here, and then the sides sort of go up to up there. So I put pin the middle out first, and then work my way out. I normally use the Knit Pro knit blockers just because they're quicker to put in. I do have some separate pins as well, which I could use because there's little picot edges, but I'm going to be a bit lazy and just put the blockers into the picot edges, and then it'll take me a little bit less time. But this lace at the edge really needs a good block, so that'll be good. So I'm going to pin the top half in first and then come back and do the bottom. Right, so there we are all blocked out. You can see that gorgeous lace and bobbles around the edge, and I'm going to leave that to dry overnight. It does take quite a while to pin out, even with the Knit Pro blockers, but I wasn't going to go around and pin out every single tiny picot on the picot edge, just because I want to go and sit down and knit. But look at that beautiful lace. Isn't that gorgeous? And Liz knitted all this for me for a shop sample. So hopefully that'll be dry in the morning. So I've now sat down to have a bit of a knit for this evening, and I've actually got quite far on my Love Note sweater. So before I'd just shown you that I'd got halfway through the lace, I've managed to knit all the lace panel and knit all of the body. So I've done, actually I did 11 inches of the body plus 1 inch of the rib to make it a bit longer. The original pattern was quite a bit shorter than that, and there was 2 versions, a sort of crop version and a regular version, but mine was even longer than that. So what I'm going to do next is that I'm going to actually do the neck, because I want to sort of see how much yarn I've got left for the sleeves. I weighed my alpaca, Syria alpaca lace, and I've got about 27 grams left, and I dyed 2 50-gram skeins of this for this jumper. So I'm thinking that I should be alright to do 3/4 length sleeves with the two this and 2 skeins of the merino and nylon that I dyed up. I've got plenty of the merino and nylon. I was just a bit worried that I haven't got enough of the Syria alpaca, but I think I might have. So I've just started doing the neckline. I'm hopefully going to get the neckband done and cast off tonight, so I can quickly try it on to see what it looks like. So here goes. last off, I didn't do a stretchy bind off, I just did it loosely in the larger needle size like it said in the pattern, because I didn't want the neckline to be too stretchy and I could only just get it over my head. I have to take my glasses off to get it over my head, but I think the neckline actually looks nice on, and I love the lace, and I'm really pleased with the length. I think it does feel slightly shorter than my top, but I think that that'll be nice if I wear a different top underneath it. But I'm so pleased. I have only got to knit 3/4 length sleeves, so I'm not far off finishing my top. So I think that's the end of the vlog today. Don't forget the February yarn clubs are only on the website until Sunday, and I will be back next week with either a crafty vlog or a podcast, depending on how much stuff I've got to show you. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I shall see you in the next video. Bye!